The second speaker is Tamako, Miyazaki, Japan. Title is Diagnostic Imaging of abomasal cord formation in preruminant calves by ultrasonography.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Okay. Well, I'm very happy to have this opportunity to introduce our study about imaging of ultrasonographic imaging of abomasal cord formation in calves. First of all, I will explain about calf unique digestive system. Calves suckle milk for first 2 to 3 months of their lives. In this period, milk flows into the abomasum through directly into abomasum through esophageal groove. Then milk coagulates and forms cord in the abomasum as a result of hydrolysis of kappa casein by the clotting enzyme chymosin. This liquid milk coagulates into solid cord like bean curd tofu in the abomasum. It is very important to feed fresh milk to derive benefit from calf digestive physiology and maintain calves healthy in calf management. However, it is also true that calves are infected quite easily to be pneumonia or diarrhea and sequential anorexia. During anorexia, what happens to the abomasal cord formation? I've noticed some symptoms that makes me to think of the trouble with cord formation in those calves. Some of you may also experience the sound of liquid in gastric tract by auscultation or the shape of abdomen which associate with abomasal atony. This question led us to challenge to diagnose abomasal cord formation. Actually, the cord formation has been studied from 1980s. The method of previous studies were based on the milk clotting properties fed to the calves. The calves fed clotting milk is considered as cord-forming calves, and the calves fed with milk with inhibitor is considered as non-cord-forming calves. A abomasal cord itself is not observed in previous studies. Besides, it is reported that some calves are born with low cord formation forming enzyme activity in the abomasum. It has been suggested that in vivo cord formation is affected not only by the in vitro clotting properties of the milk replacer, but also by the abomasal luminal pH and clotting ability, such as amount of chymosin secreted. Therefore, clotting milk cannot verify abomasal cord formation. We believe that real-time evaluation of abomasal cord formation is necessary for further investigation. We first made a cross-sectional tomography of calf abdomen to confirm the location and contents of abomasum of a calf 2 hours after feeding clotting milk replacer. Alphabet on upper left of each panel indicates the location of slices in schematic image. A as A. The abomasum was observed in the center of the abdominal floor in cranial region and shifted to the left by the presence of intestine in the caudal region. In the dependent portion of the abomasum, a large clot of cord was observed as a white solid from the xiphoid process to the navel along the ventral midline. From here to here. The cord was maximum about 10 centimeters caudal to the xiphoid process, where the abomasum was attached to the liver. Here. We used ultrasonography as a diagnostic imaging tool because it is a practical technique for visualizing the gastrointestinal organs and their contents, and also non-invasive and applicable to calves without anesthesia, which means the calves keep standing during ultrasonography. Ultrasonography was performed by placing transducer transversely across the ventral midline and moved along the ventral midline from the spheroid process to the penis or the corresponding area in female calves. Then, at the point where maximal abomasal area was observed, both paramedian regions were examined by moving the transducer laterally. This slide shows the cross-sectional tomography and the ultrasonographic image of abomasum. A large clot of card present in the abomasum was visualized by ultrasonography as an echogenic image with a clear outline, whereas the whey above the card was visualized as an anechoic image. We could demonstrate that abomasal card and whey were visualized by ultrasonography. We next examine temporal changes of abomasal card formation to know the best time to diagnose abomasal card formation. This slide shows the temporal ultrasonographic image of a cow-fed clotting milk replacer. Time after feeding is indicated upper left. Upper and lower, right and left of each panel corresponds to dorsal, ventral, right and left of the calf body respectively. Arrows indicate abomasal folds. The milk flows into abomasum as echogenic image covered entire abomasum for the calf suckle at 0 hours. Several small calves were floating in the abomasum at 0.5 hours. A large clot of card was observed in the ventral portion of the abomasum at 1 and 2 hours. The card became smaller at 4 hours and was indistinct at 6 hours. Thus, the best time for evaluating card formation is 1 to 2 hours after feeding milk replacer, when a large card could be imaged. We next compare ultrasonographic image of calves 1 hour after being fed milk replacers with different clotting properties to know if we could distinguish the presence and absence of card formation. While a large clot of card was surrounded by whey in the bottom of abomasum in the calf-fed clotting milk replacer, the entire abomasum was filled with a uniform echogenic image corresponding to the non-clotting milk replacer, but no card was observed. Several small cards and whey were observed in the calves-fed pH-dependent clotting milk replacer, which coagulate at pH 5.5 but not at pH 6.5. Thus, ultrasonography provided images to distinguish a card containing abomasum from one that does not contain card or that contains small cards. Since we could demonstrate that ultrasonography could be used to evaluate abomasal card formation in preruminant calves, we next examined 29 calves kept in the farm 2 hours after being fed clotting milk replacer. We could categorize ultrasonographic images into 4 types. A contains a large card with a clear outline and whey, which was observed in 20 calves. B contains an apparently small card, which was observed in 1 calf. C contains an anechoic image with small dots, which was observed in 5 calves. D shows entirely echogenic image, which was observed in 3 calves. No outline echogenic image corresponding to card was observed in calves showed C and D. Thus, we grouped A and B as calves with card formation and C and D as calves without card formation. We compared health condition and blood parameters between 2 groups to investigate physiological function of abomasal card formation. This slide shows health condition of calves with and without card formation. 21 calves with card formation and 7 calves without card formation appeared healthy, suckled the entire amount of clotting milk replacer, and acted vigorously. 1 calf without card formation appeared to be dehydrated, did not readily suckle the milk replacer, and preferred lying down to walking around during the experiment. The calf was considered to have wasting symptoms. This slide shows blood parameter of calves with and without card formation. X-axis indicates time after feeding, and the y-axis indicate concentration of parameters. Data are expressed as mean and standard error. Black and white dots indicate curves with and without curve formation respectively. Asterisks show significant difference compared to before feeding. Triglyceride, blood urea nitrogen, and glucose were used as indicator of nutrient absorption from the milk replacer. Triglyceride and blood urea nitrogen showed no significant time-dependent changes of differences between the two groups. Although there was time-dependent changes in glucose concentration in both groups, there was no significant difference between the two groups. So here's a summary. Ultrasonography visualized a card and whey as an echogenic image with a clear outline and an anechoic image in the abomasum. The best time for evaluating card formation is 1 to 2 hours after feeding milk replacer when a large card could be imaged. Ultrasonography provided images to distinguish a card containing abomasum from one that does not contain card or that contains small cards. A muscle card was absent in 8 of 29 calves at 2 hours after feeding clotting milk replacer. The absence of card formation in the preruminant calves did not have a significant impact on the appearance, appetite, and vigor of calves or their blood parameters, including serum triglyceride, blood urea nitrogen, and glucose concentration. Since a muscle card formation is a unique physiological digestive system of milk-fed calves, no significant difference between calves with and without card formation was unexpected. I could say that the calves survive even they don't form card in the abomasum temporarily, but I doubt if the calves grow properly without card formation in their life. There are great interest in the relationship between a muscle card formation and diarrhea too. Since diarrhea is a symptom, there are numerous causes and backgrounds. It has been difficult to compare. To my limited data, it is not so simple to connect a muscle card formation to diarrhea, that it could be a cause, a result, and no relation to diarrhea. Accumulation of data is necessary. Well, I'm very happy to share my ultrasonographic technique of imaging a muscle card formation with you today, and looking forward to discuss about new data using this technique. Besides, I'd like to advertise my poster presentation focusing on a muscle card formation in neonatal calves after first feeding of first milking colostrum, especially on its impact on IgG absorption. But I tell you about it at my poster presentation in Young Stock today. So please come and visit my poster presentation too. Thank you very much for your attention.